everyone, this is Adrienne Thompson. I'm back with more motivation and tips. Today, instead of self-publishing, I'm going to be giving you some writing tips. I wanted to address what is hands down the number one question that I'm asked about writing or publishing, and that is, how do I start writing? I've been asked that question over and over again. I've seen it asked of other authors, and I wanted to share how to start writing. And I wanted to share it in two ways. I want to kind of give you an actual step-by-step how to write, and then I want to give you some insight on what I really think that question means. So how to start writing. The first thing you need is a story to tell. You need to have a story that's floating around in your head. If you don't have a story in mind, it's going to be kind of hard to write. So you need a story to tell. Usually I'll have conversations going on in my head or events unfolding in my head, and I know that that's a story that I need to tell if that keeps happening over and over again. The second thing you need is a way to tell it. You need a computer or a laptop, a pen and paper, something to write with, some way of getting the story out of your head and onto paper or into your computer. You need time to write it. And I'll be the first to tell you that I understand that if you work a full-time job, that is not as simple as it seems or as it sounds. I was a full-time nurse when I first started writing. I was a full-time nurse. I was a single mother. I had 3 children in my home, and I just had to make time. And to be honest with you, if the story is there and the story wants to be told, and you'll make a way. You'll find a way. I would write early in the morning. Sometimes I get up at 5 o'clock and write before I went to work. I would write during my breaks at work. Even if I didn't have a notepad, I would get a sheet of typing paper and just write on that. Or if I was in the car in line, to pay a bill or at a fast food restaurant, I'd grab an envelope if a thought came to me, and I'd write on that, and then I'd add it to my my story when I got home. I wrote late at night sometimes. I didn't get much sleep for a long time because I was working. I was taking care of my kids and I was writing. But the writing was that important to me, and it was almost like a compulsion. It's like I had to write because the story just kept unfolding, and I didn't want to miss any of it. And I knew if I didn't write it down, I was going to lose it. So, I was going to lose that part of the story. So you just have to make time. A good way of really making time, I guess, in a way, is to set a goal or a deadline for yourself. Tell yourself, okay, I want to be done with this by such and such date. And once you have that deadline in mind, it's going to push you to just write it, to go ahead and just get it out and to get it written. Now that's one way to answer that question. The second way, and what I really feel this question really means when people ask it, what you have to do, the way to write a story, is to just erase the possibility of failure out of your mind. While you're writing that story, you need to concentrate on that story. You can't be concerned with how it's going to be received. You can't be concerned with whether or not you're going to be able to sell any copies of the book. You can't worry about that type of thing. You need to let the story drive you. You need to, I've published several books now, and to be totally honest with you, I don't really don't feel that really big anxiety until I'm getting ready to publish it, after I've written it, because while I'm writing the book, I'm engrossed in the story, and I want to see how it unfolds just as much as a reader standing on the outside would want to see how it's going to unfold. So I'm so involved with these characters and this plot and this story that I don't have time to worry about it failing. But without failure, I always worry about it when I'm getting ready to publish it. I do. I get concerned. I wonder if it's good enough. Wonder if people will like it. If the readers that I have now, if they would like it, if it is comparable to what I've done before. Those concerns do enter my mind, but they don't enter my mind when I'm writing it, because that's very dangerous. You don't want that in your head when you're writing. So what you have to do is just write. It really is that simple. I know it sounds like I'm oversimplifying it, but I'm not. It really is that simple. You just have to write. You just have to commit yourself to, I'm going to write this story. I'm going to get this out. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be in chronological order. It doesn't have to be a complete story when you're done, because you're going to have to rewrite anyway. You're going to have to do some self-editing and rewriting before you send it to your editor. So just write it. You know, even if it's, I have some books that I wrote in a linear manner where I wrote from beginning to end, you know, and it was all in the right order, in the right place. But like what I'm working on right now, it's coming in bits and pieces. You know, some things I've written down, I'm not going to be able to add until later in the manuscript, you know, but I've written them down. I have them. I know they're there, and I can add them later on. That doesn't matter. It doesn't have to, your first draft is not supposed to be pretty. It's just supposed to be written. So, you know, just write. You know, a story, the way you write is word by word, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph. You start off with one word, and if you keep going, you'll end up with the book, but you have to keep going. You know, that's the most important thing I can tell you, is you can't give up just because it doesn't make sense to you right now, just because you don't like what you've written right now. There are a lot of times when I get through writing, I think, I don't like that, but I know that I can fix it where I will like it. I know I can go back in, and what I like to call it is make it sparkle. I know that once I get the first draft written, I can go back in and I can make that book sparkle and shine, and I can make it, you know, to where people will enjoy it, that enjoy my books, you know. So the most important bit of information I can give you today, if you are an aspiring writer and you're stuck on how to start, just write. That is my motivation for today. Just write. Until later, be blessed.